In this episode, I'm going to try to make some indoor garden containers and plant various things in them in order to get something green indoors before winter sets in. I'm going to make two versions. One for the smallest cans using driftwood material, and one for the larger cans using new planks that I'll make old-looking. I'll plant grass, popcorn, lettuce, and various seeds meant for eating and see if anything happens. Before I start, here are some AI imaginations for inspiration. Now I just need to fine-tune it. Add the handles, give it a coat of varnish, and it's a wrap. I'm gonna add sand to the container later, so these gaps in the corner gotta be filled too. All right, back to leveling out the uneven planks. Now I have an incline that looks a bit better. It just needs a bit of sanding and it's done. This sanding thing I bought cheap at Temu is great for this. I also got a pile of sanding papers up to 800 grit with it. Now I just gotta get the handles on and it's ready for a coat of varnish. My electric screwdriver died some days ago, so yet another cheap Temu tool will have to do the job. I hate it. Shouldn't have leveled out the corners. Well, fuck. They are too short on both sides. That was some shitty measuring and cutting. I have to do that again. At least they are long enough, but a bit off. I need to give it a sanding when I have glued and nailed it. This and everything else would be much easier with a table or miter saw. A jigsaw isn't good for this, but that's all I have room for. It's done, and this is when I realized I forgot to cut the bottom board widthwise. It's too big now. I have to go buy more planks and make a new one. My head is not screwed on straight today. There we go. A new one that is narrower. Now I just need to distress it some and give it a paint job. I made this one some time ago. I'm gonna try to replicate the color as it got an old look to it. It's concrete paint with dark brown leather stain on top. The inside and the bottom I'll just use regular white paint on, as the concrete paint is quite expensive for a tiny jar. This is what it looks like after 2 coats. Quite nice, but I'm gonna give it one more to make it darker. Since stain doesn't stick permanently to paint, I need to give it a coat of varnish as a protective layer. Otherwise, water and moisture will react with the stain. If this were to just be indoors as decoration or storage for something, I wouldn't need to since it is fully dry and can be handled without problems. But water will kinda melt the stain. And since I will be spraying water on whatever I plant, it will come in contact with water. I'm using a satin varnish for this container as I want to keep the old look. Satin varnishes are not shiny, so once this is dry, it will look more or less the same as before I painted it. For another project, this color with a shiny varnish could be cool. The container is finally done and I can start with the fun parts. This one turned out better than expected, and I will definitively be using this color combination and wood distressing method again for future projects. The parts where I used the rotary tool turned out awesome. Before I can start planting, I'll have to add some sand to the bottom of the containers and make holes in the cans for drainage. I'll also heat treat them to make them look older. There we go. That looks much better than the shiny one. I'm gonna try to add some black leather stain to it too and burn it again and see if I can get it any darker. The one I added black stain to and burned again did get a tiny bit darker, but not enough for me to bother doing it on all cans. Now to make some holes in the bottom for any excessive water to sieve out of, so that the roots don't rot should I add too much water. That should do it. I can now start the actual planting. But first, let's take a look at how the discarded container turned out after I painted it white, stained it with a tan color, and applied the varnish to it. I also brushed on some black stain together with the tan stain to get some darker color differences. This one turned out great. This is some sand consisting of mostly crushed shells I gathered earlier this summer. I have no idea how to plant things, but I'm thinking the more seeds the merrier for this project. Now I'll just have to wait for weeks and see if anything happens. It's been 1 week since I planted the seeds, and this is what we got so far. These must be the popcorn, as I planted 2 of them. And this would be the lettuce. 2 straws of grass is appearing here. This is the seed mix, but it all looks the same, so it's probably just one type of seed growing. Same story with the driftwood container, but a tad less growth. No grass to be seen at all either. The popcorn grass has grown a lot since last week, but the rest seems to be failing. The lettuce seems to have died off, and I probably planted too much of that seed mix. There is most likely an epic battle over the nutrients and water going on now, and everybody is losing. The grass is in no rush either. So that's the progress after 2 weeks. Now I'll wait another week and see what happens. Well, this plant project has failed. The popcorn grass that actually grew has reached its peak and seems to be dying off now. The other grass is not growing, neither is the lettuce, and the other seeds have died of unknown reasons. There is water under the cans. I assumed that would disappear into the sand in the container, but no. No action at all in the grass soil. Guess it needs fresh air and sunlight or some shit like that. Look at all this lettuce I produced. Oh my. Since I obviously suck at growing things, I had to go buy some cool plant things that are hopefully hard to kill. Euphorbia trigona. Place it in bright indirect light. Water sparingly only when the soil is dry. Use well-draining cactus soil in a pot with drainage holes and keep it in warm temperatures, 18 to 26 degrees Celsius, avoiding cold drafts or frost. Crassula ovata. Place it in bright indirect light or some direct sunlight. Water thoroughly but let the soil dry out completely between waterings. Use well-draining cactus or succulent soil in a pot with drainage holes and maintain a warm temperature that's between 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. Aloe perfoliata. Same with this one. Bright indirect light with some direct sunlight. Let it dry out between waterings. Use cactus soil. Protect from frost and cold drafts. Euphorbia lactea. Same as the rest. Guess they all have the same caring requirements, which makes things easier as they will all die at the same time. Crassula falcata. The last one out is this one, also called Crassula trumpet. Same caring requirements as the rest too. I replanted them before I checked up their caring requirements, so I just used regular soil to fill the bottom parts with. I wonder if I have fucked them all up already by doing so. This project has finally come to an end. Although not what I had planned, the end result became quite awesome, and it's going to make a mighty fine indoors decoration. Quick, pick a number from 1 to 12. You get 3 shots. Did you get it right?